need to. I think we need to go again.
So really?
Yeah, I think the mic wasn't set properly. I wonder if we can go back in. If I just change the device. Okay, I think we're back on
back.
now.
Okay.
We are back. We're actually alive. We are actually live now.
We had some boomers.
Boomers, yeah, sorry.
Pair of boomers. So yeah, I was just saying that we've got a couple of cigars tonight. Kind of celebrating my birthday a few days late. So yeah, it's the El Guagense. I don't know what I'm doing actually, can't see it from there anyway. But it's the Wise Man from Foundation. It's got some cool bando. It's got like a couple of like brujas on there or something. But it looks great. I'm just saying it smells great too. It smells like milk chocolate. So
all their band art's great, isn't it?
Yeah.
I don't think I've seen a bad band art.
They do have a good band art, yeah. They've got one called High Clear Castle as well. That's like based on a Victorian era recipe blend.
Nice.
I think they said that I don't know if I'm making this up, but I think the guy at Mitchell said that they found that in the place where Downton Abbey's filmed or something.
Oh, right, okay.
Yeah, I think that's what he's talking about. I might be lying, but...
Interesting.
Yeah.
So, I've gone for an Oliva Serie V, Lancero, and I've had a few of these special Lanceros, and they're just cracking.
Yeah.
For that money, it's lovely. It's cracking smoke.
Right, I'm gonna light it up.
Let's do it. Yeah. How was it, bro?
Yeah, it's delicious. It's got that. It's got that the milk chocolate kind of note that I was expecting.
Yeah, sorry,
but it's also got like a kind of malty kind of a. It's a little bit tight on the draw. I'm hoping that'll open up a little bit.
Well, the draw on that is spot on, and that's.
Might just open up that quarter touch. See if I do it. Yeah, that's a bit better. Okay, yeah, so we don't really have anything planned as such for tonight, what we were going to yap about, but you've been on holiday, I've had a short break, so where are you going?
So I went to Paphos in Cyprus for 10 days, and it was roasting. It was roasting. It was 30, so for us, like 30 degrees for us is it's more than enough.
High 20s.
Yeah. So we had a pretty intense 10 days out there. Yes, please, thanks, man. And then we've come back, and all of a sudden it's autumn.
Yeah.
What's happened there? It's absolutely wild. We've gone away and had like summer, and then we've come back, and now it's like it's autumn.
I was thinking exactly the same today. I was driving, and it just struck me, like the leaves are falling off the trees.
Yeah.
It's got that damp kind of English coldness. And, it feels like autumn is definitely.
It really has.
Yeah.
Wild. But yeah, it was nice. So it was the back end of the kids' school holidays. So thought we'll take them away. It's the first holiday we've really had for quite a few years, so we were ready for it. But it's nice to be back in Blighty.
Yeah.
Although there's been things that have happened while we've been away, so it looks like the current government is trying to ban smoking in gardens, in pub gardens.
Yeah.
and on the street. So that's pretty disappointing. We'll see.
In the streets too.
Yeah.
I've heard that they were trying to go for pub gardens. Yeah, apparently it's not been, put forward for actual legislation yet, but it's like, they're talking about it, and that's what they do. They put it out there ahead of time, so that by the time it comes around, we've all been talking about it and we're all used to it. Yeah, it's kind of gross. It's disgusting. It's
treating us like babies.
Yeah, it's draconian. It's we take activities that are risky every day that entail risk. I mean, driving being one of them.
Driving, yeah.
The kind of food that people eat, and no one says anything about that. But you want to smoke in the pub, and you're the devil.
Yeah. So, well, it's interesting that you mentioned about risk and about travel. I mean, we had a pretty intense travel back. That was pretty wild. So we had in Paphos Airport, we had an earthquake.
Oh right.
4.9 on the Richter scale, and it originated from Paphos itself, which is pretty mental. Yeah, that was pretty wild. Not sticking on. There we go. So that was. And in the meantime, we had an hour and a half delay that then turned into 2.5 hours delay. And then the pilots. You can tell my brain's still not working yet. The pilots were like, well, we've gone over our time now, so we're not flying. We'll fly you in the morning. And the airline was like, there's no hotels anywhere that can take 300 people, so you're going to take them. So in terms of risk, like these guys have flown for 17 hours straight, the pilots. So that was pretty risky.
So prior to your flight, they'd flown
for 17 hours.
Damn.
So like, what's another 4 hours?
Yeah, you're not even allowed to drive for more than 4.5 hours. Right.
So that was pretty wild. Oh, got Island Duncan on. Outstanding. Good to see you.
Good evening, bro. Thanks for joining. We're just talking holidays. I took it was like a long weekend to the Lake District.
Yeah.
That was a lot of fun.
Nice.
It was a nice place. We were in Penrith. It was a nice little place that we were staying in, like a little house, and it had like a little patio with a hot tub, jacuzzi, which the kids loved.
Good weather?
No, horrible weather.
It always is. Yeah. It always is.
I think it was Saturday evening or Sunday evening. I was just in the hot tub with a cigar getting off the side, just getting rained on, the hardest cigar I had to smoke. But I was gonna do it.
Yeah, damn right. I said the video and audio was really stop-start.
This happened last time.
Yeah. We'll battle through.
Is the internet connection?
Might be. Yeah, it could be.
What's it saying on there? Because I watched the Lovecraft come back.
Yeah.
It was similar. It was kind of.
Oh, what a shame.
What does the connection say? Does it say strong?
Yeah, it's good.
I think we just kind of battle through.
We'll battle through.
Let's do it that improves.
Yeah, give it off and I'll do it short. It's kind of an impromptu thing anyway. We can get back to the Green Dragon next time, can't we?
Yeah.
See how we get on with that.
But yeah, it's really nice up there. It's beautiful there.
Gareth Country.
Yeah, although I didn't really see anything of the mills or anything. I think that was more west of where we were.
Yeah.
But so the first morning that we were there, that must have been Saturday morning. I'd totally come unprepared for the kind of weather that there was going to be, and we just went for a little walk in the surrounding woodland of where we were staying, and we're just getting my son is losing his shoe in the mud. I'm covered in mud. We're getting eaten alive by these midges and whatever and stuff, and it was just horrendous. Well, the kids had fun, so
good.
yeah.
That's kind of the be all and end all, isn't it?
Mm.
Yeah. in terms of insects and stuff in Cyprus, I was quite surprised because I expected for such a hot, humid country to be swarming in mozzies,
Yeah.
and it wasn't at all. It was pretty good
Yeah.
for that kind of stuff. It was nice that everyone drove around on the left, so that was pretty good.
Yeah, they do, don't they? Yeah.
Which is kind of mad. And also, all the sockets were 3-pin English plugs, which was also really good. So it was kind of, although I've called it tonight back in Blighty, and maybe that's quite a good thing because like nothing really works in this country anyway. So maybe that's
True.
That's just kind of how it is. But yeah, it was pretty good. It was pretty good. Yeah, it was a nice place.
I remember being in Paphos a few years ago, like renting a car,
Yeah.
and just like listening to the sat nav, like trying to pronounce all the Greek. Take the right on Avenue Giorgio.
Yeah. Oh,
great.
Yeah. Yeah, it was good. Good food as well, man. The food there was really, really good. Lots of grilled meats, lamb, pork, and chicken. Pretty much souvlakis every day.
Did you?
Yeah, it was good. And then loads of salad. It was kind of the right climate. Like, I wanted to eat loads of salad and stuff. So
you want to get that like hydration.
Yeah, that's
moisture. Yeah, the heat really makes you crave like fruits and like high hydration kind of foods like that. Yeah.
Yogurt and quite a lot of cheese as well. The feta and stuff out there. The feta and the olives. Both of them were so strong.
Yeah.
Like normally I'd get like a big handful full of olives, and just dump them in. And I was getting like 6 or 7. Like that's enough.
Really?
Can't eat any more. But I love them. But they were really strong. Duncan's got a bit of bourbon. He's got a nice glass. Balvenie Caribbean.
Oh, very nice.
Nice.
Yeah, we've got some scraps left on it. We didn't really prepare for this, but we've got like a little bit of Woodford, a little bit of wild turkey, probably more wild turkey than we've got Woodford. So I'd say probably finish this off.
Yeah, let's do that.
And then
what's the coffee, bro? Colombian.
Yeah, it's the Colombian again.
Yeah. Nice blend.
It is good.
And how's the stick going down first?
I'm gonna be honest, it's not great, man.
Is it not?
Unfortunately not. There was a lot of promise in this, but
what a shame. Struggling with the light.
Yeah, I'm struggling to. I don't know if it's because it's so long, but
I wonder if that drawer opens up a little bit later.
Yeah, I think unfortunately as well, the leaf tastes a little bit green. I think it probably could have done with some time in a humid.
Bit of aging, yeah. What a shame. I'm happy enough with your Lever V.
I think this has got potential to be an incredible stick. I just think that this one needed some rest from it. I don't know. I assume that when you get them, they must have had some rest because they're in the humidor when you buy them.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
See how it opens up.
Yeah, it
might
might
improve as you go along. Good health, brother.
So.
That is something I did miss in Cyprus. They do not have good bourbon at the places I went. I really, really, really struggle for spirits. Even the duty frees, both in Manchester and in Manchester, wasn't that great. Bottle of Woodford Reserve, it's like 33 quid.
Really?
Oh, it's duty free though. Like, yeah, mate, I can get it for 21 quid. Duty paid.
Yeah.
In Sainsbury's.
That's wild.
It was crazy.
And what about the cigars in the airport?
Cigars, none in the airport.
Wow.
None.
Not in Manchester Airport.
None in Manchester Airport. At least in the terminal that we were in, there was nothing. It's because I think Duncan is video quality is the same on last stream. It's changed the hardware.
No, we haven't changed the hardware.
The hardware, no. It must just be a connection.
I don't know if it's my internet, but what we've said we'll do is we'll try it at the ons next time and we'll see if it's any better. I don't really know what to suggest because I remember last time it was kind of jumping all over the place and there was like weird knocking sounds. It was like appropriately eldritch for the theme of the
man. Can we just have whilst we're on the subject, the fallout of the Eldritch tobacco, because my dreams that night were crazy.
Yeah.
They were really, really, really weird, and I ended up having a bit of a thing where I had like this massive, I was that tense and this really vivid dream. I can't remember what the dream was about now, but it was really vivid. And I was so tense that like I woke up like with this massive cramp in my foot, and I tried to stand up.
Like in the sole of your foot?
Yeah, and it went right up into my calf, and ended up having like a crash out. Teddy had to pick me up.
Really?
Yeah.
On the night that we did that?
On the night that we did that.
Wow.
That, and then I've since I've smoked some more, because obviously I always want to see if it's a one-off.
Yeah.
But that was pretty bad. Let's do it again. And it wasn't anywhere near as vivid or as strong, but I still had some really naughty dreams.
Wow.
So there's definitely
something to that.
There's something going on in that.
Yeah, I speaking of cramps, the other day I was wrestling my son.
We've all done it.
Well, yeah, and I'm just laying into it, and all of a sudden,
won't tie you up, won't put his things away. Right, come in.
Like that, I'm tapping, and all of a sudden I get this cramp like right up my hamstring. I'm like, ooh, and I like had to back off and like stretch out my leg. Like, oh, you've become old. You've become an old man. You turn 32. You can't wrestle your 6-year-old son anymore.
Oh man, yeah, that's pretty wild. Yeah.
Speaking of dreams though, yeah, I used to write all my dreams down like as a matter of habit.
Yeah.
And kind of like they say that the more that you do that, like the more that you tend to retain your dreams. Because they say that you dream every night. It's just that obviously
you got to float.
No, I missed it.
Down it.
You dream every night. It's just that your brain kind of gets rid of the memories, because obviously it wouldn't do to have all these memories of stuff that didn't actually happen in your head.
Yeah.
But if you get in the habit of writing them down, you tend to like remember them a bit more. And you dream some weird stuff, man. It's really wild.
Yeah, for sure. But yeah, both blends, both of those C&D blends with the tobacco leaf in, I ended up having some pretty strong dreams. But that specifically the Mad Fiddler.
Yeah.
That
you tried the purple card?
Yes, I did. Yeah.
What did you think?
Nice. It's okay. I still think that it's trying to replace something that shouldn't really be replaced somehow. That like I wondered if there are other blends. I'll give you an example. So I've tried some some cigar leaf from the Davids, from the nubs of the Davids that I've been adding in to blends that have got a little bit more burley.
Yeah.
And that's really added to it. That's been great.
Yeah, I can imagine that for sure. I just think that Latakia is just unwelcome.
It's overpowering.
Yeah.
It swamps it.
Because the thing, even a small amount of Latakia, I mean, probably Bob's Chocolate Flake has maybe got it right.
I was thinking that.
Yeah.
Is it 5%?
It's 8%. 8% they say.
It's only a touch in it.
Yeah.
It's a little bit.
Well, I think that really needs to just be Perique.
Yeah.
And then you have a great blend.
Yeah.
Well then, maybe that's something a little bit, because it's the same, it's Bob Gronowski.
Right.
Who did, obviously, Audio Krantz and
Haunted Bookshop.
Haunted Bookshop,
yeah.
yeah.
And OJK is just, oh man.
Yeah, it's great. I just think that maybe he thought, I don't know, it would just be like a clone of those, but with cigar leaf in it. But I just think that like creosote kind of taste that Taki's got, it's just it doesn't harmonise with like the chocolatey and toasty kind of notes that Burley and the Maduro cigar leaf has got.
Yeah.
That Burley and Maduro cigar leaf together.
It's a match made in it.
Yeah, and if you had a touch of Perique in there, just to add a bit of fruit, a bit of spice, that would be a great blend.
Now I wondered about adding some in to a because I've got some blending Latakia, So if I wanted to put a little bit in, I could. But I wondered about using it with some semoir, which is effectively just pure burley, I think, and it's just straight burley. So that might be a goer. But the other thing as well that I thought about was that that I wonder about the moisture content. It was a different kind of moisture content. It felt when I was rubbing it and packing it than some of the other C&D blends. I thought it was a little bit more moist than some of the other C&D blends.
The purple can.
Yeah,
maybe.
And what surprised me, amazed me actually, was how, because I enjoyed the semoir to such an extent. I thought, right, I'm buying a brick.
Yeah.
And here's a brick. And I loved it. Taking it to Cyprus in a very, very humid climate, it takes on like a completely different characteristic, and it's great. It's almost like it must absorb a little bit of the atmospheric moisture in the burn. It slows the burn down a little bit. It burns slower because obviously we smoke here and it's like it's gone, right? It burns much slower, not much slower, but a little bit noticeably slower. And the flavour, it sweetens it up a little bit somehow. So so that might be a good move with some of the with some of the blending tobaccos and maybe some of that cigar leaf from the Davids.
Well, I think there's definitely something to that, because I remember like a couple of comments on the Falcon review video that I did, and people were saying how like a Falcon smokes in like more humid climates, and just say like it gets so bubbly in the humid. So you can definitely imagine that in more humid areas, the pipe tobacco is absorbing some of that ambient humidity.
And for those, because I wondered, because I wondered about that. Is it just the Falcon that's not sitting right with the thing? But
You see the Falcon?
I did, but I also took the Meerschaum pipe, and it was actually even better in the Meerschaum. It really looked after the moisture. The heat was pretty much, it was nice and consistent because it slowed it down a little bit. I noticed that the bowl from a Meerschaum didn't get anywhere near as hot as it usually does when I'm smoking semoir. So it did a job on it. So I think it might be a really nice blend a nice tobacco to blend with.
Yeah.
So I'll have a little play with that.
Yeah, definitely. I've really gone back to smoking my Falcons a lot more. I went through a phase where I was like almost exclusively smoking Falcons, and then I kind of got back into my Briars, and then like a few weeks ago when I got that tongue bite, and I moved back to my Falcon like as a temporary measure just to like have a bit of smoke while I was recovering from that. I just remembered how much I love smoking Falcon.
Oh, that's so good.
Just so good.
Easy as you like. You can have it with a drink. It's like you haven't got to worry about your cadence as much. It's it really is. It's such a comfortable smoke. Very much like smoking a cigar. Like you haven't really got to worry about your cadence with that quite as much.
No. Certainly not with this. Struggling. I think the drawer it felt tight at first, but I think actually maybe it's too open.
So I noticed when you did the snip first time and then you lanced it.
I did, yeah. Just so what you can get is something called a perfect draw, and it's a bit like a slim corkscrew.
Okay.
That you can get in there, and obviously it will, because of the thread, it will pull out a bit of
like a little plug.
Yeah. So you can open up a drawer. Obviously that doesn't have a corkscrew, so it's not really going to have the exact same effect. But I've used it before to some success.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I don't know what it is with this.
Just a bit young.
Yeah, I think it's a bit young. Yeah. True.
Well, I'm impressed with the meat. We've had it before, and I don't think we've ever had any trouble with the lever sticks at all, have we?
I don't think I've heard about them.
No.
They've all been good. I really love the Melanio line of the V, which is like the aged tobacco version.
That's right, yeah.
It really shows, like Mitchell's used to have this, I think it was called the number 4, the Liga Special number 4.
Yeah.
But it was the Melanio, it was about 16 quid, it was like a petty coronet kind of thing, but it was so good. I mean, I always find that the length of time, the length of smoke that they quote you, they always undershoot it. It's probably smart on their part.
Yeah.
So they want to undersell and under promise and oversell.
Yeah.
So I always found that they lasted. It was a good 30 to 40 minute smoke, and the flavour was so bold, so rich, so chocolatey.
Yeah, that's good. I did get while I was over there. I did so although the airport was a bit of a letdown, the little corner shop that was on the like on the plaza, the complex, the hotel complex, had a little mini humidor, probably no bigger than your cabinet. Probably 2/3 full of Davidoffs. So yeah.
Prices.
Hey, listen, if that's your thing, all good. But it's I don't roll that way. So I didn't go for that. But what they did have was they had some placentas and a couple of different placentas, and they had. So I picked up the Alma Fuerte, the hexagonal one.
Yeah.
Though it was more square, I think, the one I had.
Oh right.
Than hexagonal, but it was still.
Do you recall what colour the label was?
Like a dark green.
Yeah. So I got a box of the Alma Fuerte 6 Dose, and I remember the band being like a kind of rich forest green.
That's it.
But this is black on the line, so I don't know. It's the 6 though. It's pressed into a hexagon.
That's it.
And I think it's 6" by 60.
That's right. Yes, it's the same size. The one I picked
up.
But there's definitely more of a kind of a squarer pack. Unless it's the one I don't know. But anyway, that's what I ended up getting. And
that's interesting.
And it was my first placenta, I think.
Yeah.
I think I've had a placenta before. And that was brilliant. That was about €16.
Very good.
So it's kind of half the price. 15 quid is about half the price of what we pay here.
Yeah. I got that box and I paid about 14 quid each, and that was perfect.
That's brilliant.
So yeah, that was good.
And because there's a lot of slippage going on, we've noticed guys getting slipped a lot. And I picked up an AJ Fernandez Pro Especial, and that was spot on, and that was like 9 quid.
I'd say they're probably my favourite stick. They're that's aged tobacco as well. That comes aged, and that's like so apparent. Like it's just the main note that I get with that is like you light it up and you get the black pepper, pretty typical of like Nicaraguan tobacco. Yeah. Black pepper on it, but then it goes down as with all the quality Nicaraguan sticks, and you just get this like salted, sweet caramel coffee.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, 100%. Do you remind me of For All the World? It's like when you made me a cup of coffee with some maple syrup in. Yeah, some cream. It was so rich, so smooth.
Yeah,
that was lovely. Like
definitely
9 quid.
Yeah. I mean, I really rate AJ Fernandez. I used to regularly get 5 Puro Especials, 5 Belas Artes Maduros, with the Brazilian Matafina, binaural fillet, but oh good lord, that is delicious. Yeah. And that's also in the True Estate Liga Privada. So chocolatey. Yeah. So good.
And the Dorados. I'm a big fan of the Dorado sticks that they do as well. Those it's as close to a Cuban flavour that I've had that hasn't been a Cuban stick.
Interesting, yeah.
But the construction, I will stand an AJ construction.
AJ is great
against any of the Cohibas that I've had out of that box, and any of the other the Montes and the Romeos that I had in Cuba, and that was going back 10 years.
Super quality, yeah. I mean, I was in Mitchell's today, and I was looking at the humidor, and I was looking at the Cubans, and I was like, should I get Cuban? But it's just such a gamble.
It is.
Yeah. You could be paying like a decent amount for absolute rubbish.
And what's funny is that the Cohibas that I've had, because we obviously smoked the last ones that were in the Esplendidos that were in the box that I picked up the last time I was in Cuba, and they were like, the flavour was great, but the construction was like but the minis, which are machine rolled,
they're always great.
They were good.
They're always great.
Yeah,
they're always so
really good.
So yeah, those like Monte Cristo does a mini.
Yeah.
Romeo does a mini.
Yeah.
I think Partagas does a mini. And Cohiba does. The Cohibas are obviously a bit more expensive. I think the name just draws it more than anybody knows anything about cigars, they know about Cohibas, don't they? But those are, I don't buy them as often as I used to, but they're so good because they always burn well. And
Yeah.
I bet they're probably just the scraps off of what the...
Probably. The
there's a-
sweepings up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Off what there's a Spanish word for it, for the rollers, but I can't remember what it is, but the roller guys.
Yeah.
It's probably just what they've clipped off.
Yeah.
And they've rolled it up. It's like you say, it's machine rolled, but and occasionally you get one and you light it and it goes like right out of the set. But a lot of the time you just get great Cuban flavour, intense Cuban flavour, without any of the like green kind of garbage that you sometimes get with
No fuss.
some of the premium roll sticks.
Yeah.
And it'll last you 5-10 minutes based on how long you're smoking, and you know, just with a cup of coffee
Yeah.
after dinner.
Yeah.
It's lovely.
Yeah, 100%. So I'm all about, weirdly, I'm all about those cheap little machine rollers. They're cheap, not really cheap. There's nothing cheap in this country anymore, but you know, like the kind of the budget end, 14 quid box of minis. They're great.
And also, all those four guys, they do what's, I think they call them clubs, and they're about 4 or 5 inch, and they're quite slim.
Yeah.
But they're just a bigger version of the machine rolled, and if you just want a bit of a longer smoke, I guess, they're also good.
Yeah.
They're about the same price for 5
as
opposed to 10. But yeah, they're good too.
Similar kind of size to the Hoyita.
Probably a bit bigger.
Really.
They've gone up to 14 quid. They used to be 11 quid.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh no.
But they were good. They were nice.
Yeah.
But yeah, I love the Monte Cristo flavours. So good. Monte Cristo 4, still fairly manageable.
Yeah.
Every now and then.
Yeah.
Great flavour.
But you know, then if I'm paying that money, do I go for a Charter Oak? You know, it's still broadleaf. It's, you know, it's reasonable quality, pretty good quality in terms of the construction.
Yeah, and the flavour's good too. It's obviously not as intense and complex as like the Tabernacle and the David.
The Tabernacle's an absolute walloping stick.
Yeah, good lord. I mean, Mitchell's has had in the short torpedoes, about 21 quid for the short torpedo, and it's probably only about 4 inches long, but it's enough.
Yeah.
It's enough because it's so...
They're intense, aren't
intense,
they?
yeah. I mean, I got the, I think it was a double Corona.
Yeah.
And it was 7 inches long.
Yeah, that's it.
And it had a good ring gauge on it. I want to say it was about 54 or maybe a bit thicker.
Yeah.
And it was just...
It's a slog at the end. You get hit.
Yeah, absolutely, man. I don't think I finished it that night. I think I smoked the rest in the morning and put it in the pie.
See, I was drinking porter when I had that, so it didn't really, because it's sugary. It's a lot more sugary. I didn't get, it took a long time for it to kick in.
Yeah.
I think had I been drinking bourbon, I think I'd have been calling on the porcelain telephone to the big guy.
Yeah.
I really would, because it didn't offer, and I stood up like,
yeah.
But that was a cracking stick. They do right to put Haile Selassie on that, because that is a Chad stick. That is, if ever there was one.
Yeah, man. And he looks so great in that regalia. I guess he was the last monarch of Ethiopia, right?
Yeah.
I think like during his time they had some...
Well, they're getting on. Probably alright. Doing fine. They're probably alright.
They had some trouble with... I think he managed to kick Italy out. I think they were a former colony, or they had...
That's right, yeah. That's
or
right.
they...
Abyssinia.
Right.
There, weren't they? Yeah.
But yeah, I think he managed to get rid of the Italians during his reign. I might be wrong about that, but...
Maybe promised him some sticks if he got out.
Yeah.
How's that draw improving?
Probably improved a bit, and the flavour probably improved a bit, but yeah, they were ashamed about that. Had I known, I would rest it or smoke something else. But anyway. But yeah, Ethiopia is quite big in Christian history, obviously.
Tawahedo.
Yeah, the Tawahedo.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's their church, Tawahedo Church, which is it's related to the Arabic term Tawheed, which means like unity.
Tawheed, yeah, that's right.
Oneness.
Yeah.
Because what's wild is that Amharic is a Semitic language.
Right.
In the same class as obviously Hebrew and Arabic.
Yeah.
Because the the peoples in the Horn of Africa, like Eritrea, what is modern day Eritrea and Ethiopia, they are like Semitic, because of the involvement with like the Semitic peoples.
Would it be on the trading routes, I wonder?
Maybe. I don't think it's a huge cross from into the Horn of Africa from like Palestine and whatever.
Like North Africa.
Mm.
And was it Philip? I think who apostolized him. I think he did, didn't he?
The Ethiopian eunuch.
Yeah, that's right.
And then, am I remembering right? Does he just like disappear?
Yeah. They kind of turned up on a chariot, had a quick chat with Philip. Like, yeah, that sounds pretty good. Yeah, let's go for that.
Yeah,
let's do that.
There's this. It's Saint Philip who disappears, right?
Saint Philip. Yeah.
So people who know Dune, they'll know that like the Messiah figure in Dune,
is it the Emperor?
Well, he becomes the Emperor. Paul becomes the Emperor. Yeah. But the name that the Bene Gesserit, which are this like order of witches, have for the Messiah is Kwisatz Haderach, which is Hebrew for shortening of the way, and it's this term that that I think it's like a Jewish term that they use to describe events in the Bible where figures appear to like teleport. So like they shorten the way and I think Moses does it, and I think obviously there's a couple of times where Jesus does it. Like obviously I don't think they would apply that to Jesus, but there's like periods after the resurrection where he appears to just show up. And then kind of
they just go. Wow.
And obviously Saint Philip does that.
Saint Philip. Interesting about Paul. One of the things that I didn't realise until I should really have known, but I didn't. So it was a good learning experience. Was about Paul's time in Paphos.
I knew that he'd been there, but I didn't know much about it.
Well, it's funny because it's kind of split. The references are split. So in I think it's in Romans when he's talking about getting lashed for basically for preaching. So it's 40 lashes less one. It's like 39 lashes, and he's lashed with a 13-headed. But it's 13, right? And they chain him to a pillar to do it. And we were kind of walking around in Paphos Harbour, and we said, "Oh, we'll go and have a look at some of the ancient churches." And lo and behold, there's this pillar that St Paul was chained to and lashed. So it all kind of come through the like kind of the local mythos, like the local telos. But it's referenced in one of the other epistles. But then also in Acts 13 he's talking about his time in Paphos. That he had some time there. And it was a similar kind of story there that it was. And again, my geography is rubbish. I've never been good at geography, but I didn't realise how close Cyprus was to the Holy Land. It's like
across the water.
It's like a half an hour flight. It's unbelievable.
And I think like what really struck me flying into Paphos and being around Paphos, and I think you'll agree, is the terrain it looks biblical.
It does.
It looks Middle Eastern.
It is.
It's all like scrubby.
It is.
I don't mean that. I don't mean that like.
It's
scrubby. But there's scrub brush, and it's kind of like dry.
That's right.
And rocky. And it just looks like you could set a biblical drama there.
100%. And even like the grass, like when kind of when we're kind of used to like things looking a certain way, like grass, and you see all like the bowling greens and stuff, nice long, lawn bowls and like nice like golf courses,
like verdant.
And their grass is like it's like a succulent. It was like thick and spongy, and only in little places. But like you could see like all the olive trees, you've got all these citrus trees that were all around, just growing wild, which is pretty mad. But everywhere else it's arid and rocky. And it reminded me a lot of Egypt. When we were in Egypt, like parts of it was like really sort of dense, sort of rocky, not dense, sort of like arid, like rocky ground. It was wild. But very much it was you kind of, it really brought like the gospel and the book of Acts to life.
Yeah.
It was amazing. Yeah, it was really cool. And even though it was hot, like I'm always complaining, being of the mountain man stock, bless you, being of mountain man stock, bless you. It was I've never been any good in heat, and
no, nor am I. Despite appearances, I don't do well in the heat.
It was full of people. But it was manageable. It was really manageable. It was good. It was a good spot. I'd like to go back. Maybe when the kids are bigger.
Yeah.
Because we wanted to go to the monastery. We wanted to go to the zoo. We wanted to
Did you go to
the
the monastery?
We couldn't. No, we didn't. We made it as far as the end of the road.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, the kids just couldn't.
They just couldn't hack it. They couldn't hack it. But we'll go back. I will go back and I'll go to the monasteries.
Yeah.
So that was it was a bit of a disappointment, but it's one of them. But what we did see was a lot of the ancient churches, and we went to St Nicholas's Chapel at Sunset Point, which was right in the harbour. That was really nice. Did some vespers in the just a readers' vespers in the chapel. That was really nice. And then saw just on literally next to and overlooking the Pillar of St Paul was the remnants of 3rd century church. 3rd century. And then built on top of that was, because I think it had been knocked down, I imagine, again, don't shoot me down from history, in that area it's not as good as it should be, but knocked down because they've been taken over by the Ottomans. Scams. But they rebuilt it during the Crusades, and there were 2 churches that had stood side by side, one that was Gothic and then one that had been rebuilt in the Byzantine style.
So presumably
16th century.
So presumably the Latin Christians built it in the Gothic style.
And it got one of them had got stained glass windows.
Oh yeah. Wow.
Which I was not expecting to see, which seemed to me like very much
well, had it been like reconsecrated as like an Orthodox?
Oh, it's Orthodox, yeah. One was, and then one was Melkite.
Alright.
So it was Greek Catholic. But yeah, it was but again it was all in Byzantine style.
Eastern Rite, of course, yeah. That's cool, man. I don't know much about the Melkites or the Maronites. I think they're mainly Lebanese, right?
Right. And again, not far, just over the water.
Yeah. Yeah, it's all like, that part of the world, it's all a little bit closer together than you really picture it.
Yeah.
Once you get there, you realise how easy it would have been for them to kind of interact with each other.
Yeah. When they said, Jesus went and gone from this place to that place,
yeah.
to this place, and they think, oh, Christ, I got around it. They're like, that's probably why.
Yeah.
Because it's small.
Exactly, yeah. And obviously Barry is a lot more porous. Boundaries a lot more porous in those days.
Yeah. I think, while it must have been for some of the early Christians to come over here and see how different our climate was.
Yeah.
I think it's St John Chrysostom that had said in one of his writings. Again, it must have been 3rd century. It's like, Christianity's really taking off, and we've even got churches in this weird little island, like way over in the west, that's really wild and like full of wild people.
Yeah.
It's here. You can kind of tell because it's very different.
Yeah.
The climate's very different. The look of it's very different. It was good. Yeah, I enjoyed it.
So what was interesting to me is I was reading this, and I think I was on like a website about like Saxon history, and obviously in this country of Britain, so British English Christians, we're quite proud of the heritage that we've got, the Christian heritage that we've got, because we had Christians over here, so like St Joseph of Arimathea, 33 AD.
Yeah.
So obviously the Orthodox Church takes claim to the early church in England. Obviously the Roman Catholics want to do that too.
Yeah. St Aristobulus was one of the early saints as well.
Yeah.
I think.
I think we had a St Augustine, not the St Augustine.
Yeah.
Of Hippo.
Yeah.
But also, the Coptic Church likes to lay claim to that as well. Apparently, I didn't realise that, but what I did know is that there were monasteries over here and in I think Ireland that were that followed like an Egyptian rule.
Yeah. Up until fairly recently, I think,
Oh, yeah.
because there was a branch of the Coptic Church. They were under Pope Shenouda, that was described as the British Orthodox Church.
Yeah, but it's not.
And it's not now.
Not yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've read about that too. Yeah, Shenouda is Coptic for Son of God.
Yeah.
I was thinking about this the other day. You know, like it's not. I know in some cultures it is, like I can think of Spanish, but it's not really the done thing to name your son Jesus, is it?
No, it's not really.
Obviously in Spain,
Emmanuel,
yeah. They have Jesus, obviously,
Yeah.
in Spanish, but it's not really. We don't really do that.
No, we don't. No. Yeah, I remember when I first, when I must have only been little, like 5 or 6, and I'd seen somebody that was called, it was a Spanish guy that was called Jesus, like,
Jesus.
this is Jesus!
Yeah.
And they're like, no, that's not it. Like, well, why would you call him that?
Yeah. It's just, yeah. I mean, it's I guess that if you name your kid after a saint, or like an Old Testament righteous, that like gives it puts like a certain expectation on you kind of to uphold that name. But if you call your kid Jesus, good luck, because there's just no way.
There's no way.
Yeah, I guess that's why probably.
That's probably why.
Yeah.
Definitely not why.
But Joshua. There is Joshua.
Yeah.
So obviously, like in Aramaic, he would have been, his disciples would call him Yeshua and stuff, and that transliterated into Joshua, and then I think like the Romans kind of like transliterated that into Jesus.
Yeah.
And then that's the one that stuck.
Yeah.
Jesus and but yeah, we do have Joshua.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. I definitely wouldn't be calling one of my kids.
No, you're not.
Never gonna live up to it.
But actually, I knew a Greek kid in school called Christos.
Right. Yes.
So there is that.
Yeah. True. I work with a guy called Chris.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So that was pretty mad. And I did meet. This is what a small world the Orthodox. This is how small the Orthodox Church makes the world. So one of the guys that we both knew from St Cuthbert's, his cousin ran one of the shops on the harbour.
Oh yeah.
So we ended up kind of running into him and having a bit of a chat with him. Yeah.
Oh yeah, cool.
Which is pretty crazy.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was good. It was good. It was a good experience. I'm pleased we went. I'm pleased the kids could go and see some of it. Although they complained somewhat rotten that we ended up taking them out of the pool for a day.
Really?
Yeah. They didn't get it at all. But yeah, it was good. It was good.
Oh, brilliant. Yeah, we'll be going to Corfu in a few weeks, really, end of October.
Yeah.
So. St. Spiridon.
So
hopefully there'll be some sites there to check out.
Yeah.
Bearded Canessian, hey fellas, I'm smoking some Billy Bud in my Nordic pipe. Great topics tonight. The scrubby Are you smoking the blue Billy Bud or the blonde Billy Bud? Because the blue Billy Bud has got Latakia in it, and I did get hold of some of the blonde Billy Bud, and it's not got Latakia in, but it's got the Castori cigar leaf in it, and white burley, but it comes through as really Virginia forward in my opinion. It wasn't the burly. I was expecting something a bit like Haunted Bookshop.
Yeah.
With the touch of cigar leaf in it.
Yeah.
But it was very Virginia. It was more of a Virginia than anything in my opinion. But yeah. So let us know which one, man. Hopefully the connection is.
Yeah, let's hope so.
Yeah.
If you're able to see it.
Yeah.
No, that's good. Interesting. Yeah, you got an Nordic. Yeah, tell us about your Nordic pipe, BK, because I really miss that pipe. I love my Nation pipe, and I love my Falcon. I took them both away. The first thing I did when I got back, when I got up this morning was had some breakfast. Empty my suitcases, put some washing in, washed some of my clothes. I put on Return of the King extended edition, and I packed a massive bowl full of Bob's chocolate flake in that Nordin freehand, and I just love that pie. that is now my favourite pie.
Do you know what I watched recently? I don't know if you've seen it, US Marshals. Have you seen that?
I haven't. Wesley Snipes and Tommy Lee Jones.
Yeah.
It was like the follow up to The Fugitive.
That's right,
Which
yeah.
is cracking. Love it.
I actually haven't seen that.
Oh man, that's
is that Benicio del Toro?
It's not. It's no. It's Harrison Ford, who plays Dr. Richard Kimball, and Tommy Lee Jones, and Ralphie. Joey Pants.
Yeah, Joey Pants is in US Marshals.
Is he?
Yeah. So there's Tommy Lee Jones, there's Joey Pants, and then his little squad of US Marshals, and then there's Wesley Snipes. Robert Downey Jr. is in it.
Is he?
Yeah. I think that's all the big names in it, but it just struck me. They don't really make action films like that anymore. There's just something about it is.
See, I remember that film getting panned.
Really?
When it first came out, but I mean, obviously everything's relative now. So I can't watch a film now which is any good at all. So even these films that were described as being a bit crap, like back in like late 90s, early 90s, like you look back and think, this is pretty good.
Yeah.
This is alright.
I mean, I was thinking as I was watching it, I don't know if I particularly rate Tommy Lee Jones as a lead in that. I don't. It's just there's a certain charisma that he lacks. I don't know what it is.
Yeah.
But he did a good job. It was. I thought it was good. It just struck me. They don't really make action films like this anymore. It was paced well.
Yeah.
The action scenes were good. It was just an enjoyable kind of watch. Yeah. Wesley Snipes was good.
Yeah.
There was like a little scene where, because in the beginning his character he appears to be just like a working class guy, but it becomes revealed that he's some kind of big shot. Yeah, he's a bad guy. And he meets up with one of his dudes in this like tobacconist in Chicago, and there's all these like German hunter pipes on the wall, and there's like Monte Cristo cigars and stuff. Yeah, it was great.
Oh, Birkin says here it's got 300 sprung for the signature. Yeah, so
nice.
I went for the signature. Yeah, it's darkened up. Mine was really darkened up as well. Yeah, it's an easy smoke. It really is. Because of how thick the bowl is and the stem. It's almost like Falcon territory. It's so easy. Still gets a little bit sloppy. I'm a dribbler, so what can I say?
Yeah, I'm always funny.
But yeah, it's cracking. Nordin Freehand's a great pie. Watching the colour change. Yeah, I don't use the Nordin stones. To be honest, I reckon I could really get some benefit out of it, because that's one of the things, because it collects the design of the chamber is quite narrow and deep. So I think it'd be a good, and so I always end up smoking like 2/3 of a bowl, 3/4 of a bowl, and it does tend to get quite wet at the bottom.
Yeah.
I reckon those stones will just sort that out like nobody's business. I think they do last longer than the balsa filters, and you don't get the same kind of draw effects.
Yeah. What are they made of? Is it just like a natural kind of clay thing?
Yeah, it's clay, I think.
Yeah.
It's just like a really porous, sort of chalky clay.
That's interesting. Maybe we should get a little box of those and review them.
Yeah, that's a really
next
good
time.
shout. Yeah, I might do that. Keep a few in.
Yeah.
But unlike the near up that I got, which was a 9mm balsa filter pipe, which I smoked to start with no filter in at all, because I was just being a dick about it. Because I'm normally fussy about filters, I don't like them. But I ended up going for the balsa filters, and actually it has made a massive difference.
Balsa filters are good.
They're pretty good. I went for the Savinelli ones, so they're a decent brand.
Yeah.
They weren't a lot of money. It was like it might have been a tenner for 20 or something, and they last long enough. Because I'm like, I'll just make some. There's only balsa one. I'll get it, but I'll go down the balsa. I'll go down the wood shop. Go get some balsa.
I thought that.
Yeah, I didn't. So I just picked some up. I haven't got time to do that really.
Hobbycraft maybe.
Hobbycraft. Well, that's exactly what I thought. But anyway, they didn't have any. But the stones, I think, you don't have the same kind of. It doesn't have the same effect. It doesn't affect the draw at all. It just means that you're packing a 2/3 bowl, but you're still getting kind of a full bowl effect, and it just looks after all the moisture without it changing the draw. So it's maybe worth picking some up. We'll give it a go.
BK says, I have recently been using them. Works great, doesn't change the flavour of tobacco.
Yeah.
In my opinion, the filters sometimes, yeah.
That's the thing, yeah.
I do think there's, in some blends, they can maybe dull down the flavour.
Especially, I found that more with the cellulose filters. You know, those 6mm paper filters.
With the, from Savinelli?
No, I used the Falcon Coolway ones.
Oh yeah.
And they're nowhere near as good.
So Savinelli, they had this thing during the Carunca where they were like, we can't get hold of balsa from Ecuador.
That's right.
Get from somewhere else. Go to Hobbycraft.
Yeah, exactly.
So what they were doing is, they would typically send out like 1 or 2 balsa filters, but they were sending out the charcoal filters.
Yeah.
I actually never tried them, but I'm just a bit of a nut about putting plastic near heat. And I know that I'm putting acrylic literally in my gob to smell. But I don't want any kind of plastic so close to the heat line. Yeah. So for me, the stones or the balsa filter kind of like takes care of that.
And they changed the design of those balsas from being like a triangular cross section to like it's like an H shape now. So it's like these big grooves that they've cut out of it. And they've I think that people have said I've never smoked the triangular ones, but you've had some, haven't you?
I got a couple of those.
Yeah. But they've improved the draw from what people have said, at least anyway. And I found them fine, especially that Nero, which is a cracking pipe. It's a church one, so it's quite sloppy anyway, and it's quite a bent shape. So it's slop city otherwise if I don't. And that's made a difference. But the Norden, and it's nowhere near as bad as that. The Norden, even without filters or stones. But I will give those a try next time. So that's maybe a good one to review.
Yeah, we'll do that. We'll get some stones.
So BM was a great recommendation. Try the high dry toast. Yeah, I've heard high dry toast a good shout.
Oh yeah, brother. So we had that email exchange. I didn't realise that was you. Yeah, I love the BM. High dry. Yes, I like the high dry toast too. It's unflavoured. There's a subtle sweet tobacco, just natural tobacco flavour to it. And it's so fine and so dry. It lifts off the fingers so easily, and you get the good nick hit, which is what you want.
Yeah.
But I love the BM too because you really are kind of reluctant to try any menthol, and then you got that German one that
liver freezer.
Yeah. And I really like that. I think it's the menthol. It's good to kickstart a smoke session because it just really clears out the nostrils, and it just kind of like, if you let it settle down, it's like a bit of a palate cleanser.
Yeah, it is. And once that dies off,
yeah.
So I had some more. So when I first picked up that pack, because I had some that my brother had given me, some of that liver freezer, and I think he'd had it for a little while, so it aged a little bit, and when that menthol sort of died off, what was left, the flavour of the leaf was absolutely amazing. It was like really mahogany and leather. It was lovely. Just a really rich tobacco flavour. And when I first picked that pack up, I'm like, the menthol was really strong, and it lasted. It went on quite a while. Well, that's backed off a lot now. And again, while I took it with me to Cyprus, and again in a high humid climate, it was amazing. It was a cracking bit of snuff, that.
I know we always say it, but what I really love about snuff is just the the clandestine nature of it. Like, you can be indoors in public. Yeah. I remember like a few months ago, my sister treated me actually for no reason other than just to be nice. It was in Sheffield Cathedral, and it was this little orchestra were doing Hans Zimmer.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah.
And I was just in there just snuffing away, just getting the nick hit whenever I wanted. Nobody could say anything. You can't say anything. I'm consuming tobacco. And you can't say anything.
Yeah.
It was great.
Damn right. Yeah. So that was a good shout. So yeah, BK, just appreciating the time you took to reply to him.
Oh, absolutely, man. I just apologise that it wasn't sooner because I'm really terrible at replying to emails, and for some reason, even though I've got my phone set up to alert me to those emails, they don't always come through, and I tend to miss them. So I apologise that it was late in coming, but I'm glad that I'm glad that you appreciate the recommendations, brother. A lot of wisdom in this Green Dragon, not quite Gandalf in our combo.
I'm definitely grey, but when Gandalf, I'm definitely grey. That makes you Aragorn. I know that sounds about fair.
Almost.
That makes you a Numenorian.
Yeah.
Oof.
Yeah.
Lad.
But
8 foot tall.
I've probably got. I haven't got much, but I've probably got too much facial hair to qualify me as a Numenorian because they're not actually supposed to be able to grow beards, are they?
Yeah, that's right.
Because of the elven
That's right.
lineage.
Yeah. Half breeds. Just saying. Just saying. That's been something I've been going down a bit of a rabbit hole on as well now, like all the like the Silmarillion. So I picked a copy of that up, just an audiobook copy, the one that was read by Martin Shaw.
Oh yeah.
Because Andy Serkis does one as well.
Oh yeah.
Apparently, and I've not listened to that one, but I've listened to the Martin Shaw one, which is a bit older. And it's got it's a Silmarillion and then some other.
Is it a straight read or is it like a dramatic read?
It's a straight read.
Okay.
And then, but it's chopped up into sort of quite digestible bits.
Unabridged.
It's unabridged, yeah. And they've also included some of the other tales as well. So there's some stuff on Alcalabeth, Fallen Numenor, and like the preceding bit. So there's and then the War of Wrath. War of Wrath, and then Alcalabeth, and then a little bit on like the preceding stuff before the War of the Ring.
Right.
And it was cracking. It's got me through 2 flights.
Nice.
Good.
I think so. Obviously last time we were here, we did the Lovecraft stream. Oh, we got dislike. Who's disliking?
Unbelievable.
Unforgivable. 2 dislikes.
all right.
I was we did the Lovecraft stream, and I've been reading recently The King in Yellow by Robert Chambers, and he like precedes Lovecraft by a little bit, and he was said to be an influence on Lovecraft. I don't know if you ever mentioned him.
No.
But the themes are like really similar, and so I read the first story, which is called Repair of Reputations, and this guy Robert Chambers, he wrote like a series of short stories that aren't really connected except for this theme, that there's this play that has been written called The King in Yellow that sends the reader insane. But so what I've picked up so far is that it describes this like other world called Carcosa.
Yeah.
And so basically people who read it kind of are trying to bring this like eldritch realm into reality, which is kind of the theme that In the Mouth of Madness was.
Yeah.
So this like
story within a story.
Yeah, this like work of fiction that sends people mad, but what is happening is that those people that read it are trying to bring that reality that's described in the fiction, draw it into into our reality. So I imagine that John Carpenter or whoever I imagine he wrote it was influenced by that.
Yeah. That's interesting though. The King in Yellow is also a thing that comes through in some of the 40k. So 40k got massive Lovecraft influences. Yeah. There's a lot of Lovecraftian stuff in the 40k lore, and that comes through. And some of the later like Eisenhorn, like the Eisenhorn arc, Eisenhorn and Ravenor and Beckwin, which is like 3 trilogies, although there's 4 books in Eisenhorn now. Where there's like big areas of crossover. They've all kind of been around each other. They're all inquisitors, and they're all kind of all of them are kind of on their own story arc. But this thing about the King in Yellow is like this low-lying storyline that takes a long time to come through. And there's one more book that Dan Abnett's trying to get finished. I hope he doesn't turn into George R.R. Martin. I ain't got time for another one of them.
Yeah.
But I know he's been writing a lot of the like the finishing up the Horus Heresy stuff and the War on Terror. But there's like a big lore reveal about who the King in Yellow actually is.
Oh, okay.
But it turns out and that's like another dimension that's not in the warp and it's not in real space. It's in like an extra different pocket dimension. But yeah, that's really cool. So they've obviously drawn quite a lot of stuff from that as well. So that's all good. Yeah. Yeah, I think just in terms of the way that Lovecraft and Tolkien write, it's like you kind of got surface level stories which are great, and they're like backed up by kind of other stories which kind of feed into those and cross over into them, and then underneath that you've got just this mass of lore and like mythos that's been created around these entities that underpin it all. It's amazing.
Yeah, and that's a good point. And I think in a similar vein to The King in Yellow and In the Mouth of Madness, what connects a lot of the Lovecraft mythos is that book, which is the Necronomicon.
Yeah.
So it's this book that contains all this eldritch lore.
It's gone.
It's gone. Yeah, it's gone.
Was it ever there? Was it all a dream?
And it's a theme in all of the stories, it was something that the mad Arab Abdul al-Hazred.
That's right.
Which is completely made up Arabic name. That's just Lovecraft.
I meant to ask you that before. What does that mean, Harry?
What sounds Arabic?
Yeah, good enough.
Al-Hazred.
Good enough.
Yeah.
Close enough. I love Lucas. Yeah, he's another 40k fan. Eisenhorn is probably my favourite character within the 40k lore. And I was talking to the missus about it. Occasionally we do actually have a conversation that isn't if we put the kids to bed. What time we're having tea.
Yeah.
And so can we ever write stories like that again? Have we lost the ability to tell stories like that? The way that they created this character who starts off as a bit of a Puritan, you know, he's very much by the rules, by the book, and then as his character develops over time, the more he becomes the more he's around the warp and the corrupting influences of the warp. He thinks, can I use it a little bit? It's like the ring, a little bit. Can I use the ring to kind of do stuff? I know it's bad, but like these guys are really bad, and if I just use it for good, I use it a little bit and then I'll take it off. You know, and then over time it just becomes more and more that it's used. He starts using the warp and like binding demons and stuff into demon hosts. And then by the end of it, he's pretty much, he's not necessarily like a bad guy. It's much more nuanced and layered. Yeah. But it's the way that his character develops over time, over like the course of 10 books. Amazing. Absolutely amazing. Yeah, I love it.
Well, it's a good question. Can we write stories like this anymore? And I think that the answer probably is yeah. I think that, so something that I remember Jonathan Pajot saying a while ago is that, and I think he was giving advice to someone who was asking about writing advice, and he was like, the structure is already there for us because you know, we can like take like a Joseph Campbellian kind of approach to it, like the hero with 1,000 faces, like the hero's journey always follows like a similar kind of structure. But obviously the underlying story in our culture is obviously the biblical story of Jesus, and that replays itself in almost everything that we see. And well, you would say that, but it's really true. And he said that because that's the great thing about Tolkien. So Tolkien famously didn't like straightforward allegory. But so there's no one character that you can point to and say, yeah, that's Jesus, that's Saint Peter, whatever. But there are recurring patterns and themes that we can point to and say, yeah, that's straight from the biblical source. So and he said that the structure that people are going to be craving for is the return of the king. Because obviously we're in kind of like a spiritually destitute kind of environment, and what we're really craving for is the return of that king figure. So obviously we that's the third book, obviously, of the Lord of the Rings trilogy, the Return of the King. Aragorn is the king who has kind of put off his kingship. And he's kind of like wandering around. He's a beggar. He's in rags, but he's actually this heir to this line of kings, and he comes into his kingship in the end, which again sounds familiar.
Not kind of like a necessarily redemption arc. Although redemption arc, I guess, to some extent, we look at some of the lives of the saints.
Yeah.
I was talking to our parish priest about it, and about the way that the disciples are written in the gospel, the way that they are in the gospel, and then you move into Acts, and it's like this momentous thing has happened, and they've got to step up now, and they've got to start doing it, and so like the Peter of Acts is almost a completely new character
Yeah.
from the Peter of the Gospels. It's like,
100%.
I'm the best one, aren't I? I'm the best one. To him and being slapped down for it.
Yeah.
To becoming the guy that's baptizing, was it 3,000 people in a day?
Yeah. And being crucified upside down.
Yeah.
Because he refuses to be crucified in the same way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Paul. Yeah, and Paul.
Paul's beheaded, right?
Yeah, Paul. Yeah, as in Paul is in like the redemption arc.
Oh, sorry, yeah.
Like the bad guy.
Yeah. Yeah.
Bad guy turned good.
It just reminds me. I thought this would be good to discuss as well. A few things that. So BK says, I'll be visiting your area on my next visit. Should be romping around Aberdeen. Oh, that's a bit north of us, but.
It is nice though.
Oh, unless you're talking to Duncan there. Oh yeah, you must be. Sorry, mate. I'm a wildling from north of the wall, so can't have long recommendations. Yeah.
See, I can. There was a little pipe shop in of all places, Covent Garden. That's called. I think it's called the Segar, Segar, Cigar and Snuff Parlour. And as you go into Covent Garden from the main entrance, it's like just this tiny little. You could easily walk past it, and it's the first on the left, and it's just a tiny little place. It's probably half the size of Harry's dining room here. It's tiny.
Really, that's what.
It's tiny, but they've got a really good selection. It's a decent selection of pipes. It's not cheap, because obviously they're in like sort of prime rent territory.
Yeah.
But the good things about them are, they've got some sticks, they've got some pipes. Their snuff is really good. Their snuff is really, really, really good, and their back is pretty good as well. So we had got 3 last time, didn't we? We got the cabbies, which is cracking, standing up against any of the other cabbies and the spun mixtures.
Yeah.
It's a bit kind of deluxe navy rolls, but and a little bit sort of.
It's a lot like the Gareth cabbies.
It is a lot like Gareth's. Then they've got an English, classic English, which is a little bit more, reminded me a little bit of the My Mixture. Kind of maybe halfway between a My Mixture and a Squadron Leader, I would say. And they...
And like the Lakeland, right?
Right, and then they got the Lakeland one, which was really, really Lakeland English. They used to describe it as English flake, as just being Burley, Virginia, and it's not. It's got this massive topping.
Really?
But I loved it. In its right place at the right time of the year. It was nice. So they're well worth the trip. The guys are that run it are okay as well. You know, they'll kind of talk you through stuff. They're not too sniffy. But yeah, it's a good place to visit.
Nice. So, Duncan, in response to the stories thing, said he's not convinced that we can write stories like these again. These characters mature over many volumes and chapters, whereas modern times people want instant understanding, which can only be satisfied by standard stereotypes, in my honest opinion. I think there's probably something to that, definitely. Yeah. I think people's attention spans and their willingness to
like the instant gratification era.
Yeah, I think there's probably something to that. But I do also see a lot of younger people just kind of like yearning for more traditional modes of,
storytelling.
Yeah, definitely. So I'm a bit more optimistic. But so what I was going to say is on this kind of subject. So a couple of videos made their way into my recommendations, and it was about sincerity versus postmodern kind of storytelling.
Yeah.
So like the whole thing about postmodernism being like being like self-aware and critiquing the structures and he said like. This guy, he said like the real turning point for him that he could pinpoint, not like it was the first instance of it, but what really kind of like solidified it for him is, do you remember the first Avengers Infinity War?
Yeah.
So there's a bit towards the end where Loki is in this like penthouse or this like apartment, and a few of the good guys in there, the Hulk's in there. Have you seen it?
I've not seen it, no.
So Loki's going on this like really like grandiose kind of like villainous speech, and then halfway through the speech he's interrupted unceremoniously by Hulk, and Hulk like slams him around, bang, 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 bang. And it's like it's supposed to subvert your expectations, and everyone has a chuckle and that. But then like the Marvel films, and I haven't really seen many of them after probably that one really. They've really gone in on this whole kind of like, we're aware, it's a superhero movie, wink wink, and we have a little bit of a laugh about it.
Yeah.
And obviously, Deadpool is like the epitome of this, because he's a character that he's aware that he's in a story, and he's constantly breaking the fourth wall and making jokes about that stuff. And that's all great for a laugh, but he compared it like to, funnily enough, Lord of the Rings, where the storytelling is extremely sincere. Like the characters are serious people. There's no
bants.
There's no banter. There's no awareness of. There's no like self-awareness. There's no breaking the fourth wall. It's a straightforward story with clear morality, and that's how it plays out. And I really think that now it's getting to the point where it strikes us as a little bit cheesy when things are like that. But that's only because
that's become the structure.
But that's because the postmodern kind of storytelling has become what we've become so used to. So when we see a character who's serious and they've got honest motivations and they are just sincere, that comes across as a little bit hammy and cheesy to us now, but that never would have been the case even a few decades ago.
Like 90s.
Exactly.
That's a fair point. And also as well, like talking about like story arcs, like things that kind of go, take like as Duncan said, like maybe take 10 novels, 11 novels, 12 novels, and in the Horus Heresy series, it's like 50 books. It's enormous. And things are spun out over such a long time. Now you've got not necessarily story arcs, you've just got IP where it's like it's just generating content.
Right.
Come on lads, we've got another film to churn out. I've got some more D plus accounts to subscribers to try and get here. And it does feel like that mode of story writing for that type of for that kind of content creation, sort of mode of writing, it's not doing well. It's starting to wane now. People have kind of had enough. I noticed a story connected with J.R.R. Tolkien that has been created for a particular large retail organisation. They've halved. There's been a halving of the first episode viewership between season 1 and season 2. People are kind of voting with their feet now.
Yeah, and I mean, case in point, Exhibit A, The Witcher.
Right. And it won't be the first. It isn't the first, and it won't be the last.
It won't be the last.
They've had it with all the all the Star Wars stuff. They've had the same thing.
Of course, Star Wars has been. I think Disney's really been in the forefront of it.
They've IP'd it to death. It's been done. And that again was all about. Initially it was like a big story arc. This guy, young guy, he's got to be. He's not less of a line of kings, but he's kind of like the Jedi that's got to become a Jedi, but he's got to get there first. And he's a young lad, and he's kind of a bit lost.
Parentless kid in the desert.
Has a go at it. Thinks he's got to do the right thing. Has a crack at it. Fails. Gets his hand cut off. He's got some battle scars. He's got to go away. He's got to regroup, learn a bit more, train a bit more, and then come back and do the deed that he was expected to do in the first place. So there was like a whole arc to it, and then all of the stuff that's come subsequent to that has kind of really missed the point. It's really missed the storytelling arc, because it's been more about selling IP. It's been more about getting some new films out, some new content, than it has been about what happens to these characters next, where do they go. And the thing that really struck me was when I was learning recently about Tolkien's follow-up to Lord of the Rings, The New Shadow. I don't know if you've come across that.
I have,
Come
yeah.
across that.
Where people are like worshipping Sauron, there's like cults that are like worshipping.
Cults, yeah. And he eventually sacked it off. He got halfway through, he thought, no, I don't want to do it. Don't want to do it. You should just leave it as it is. I can't develop it into a story which is gonna work. It's gonna water down the original, and it's gonna fail. And it's interesting about the thing about watering down, because all of the stories, with Morgoth, and that he was infinitely powerful, and it took an enormous amount of time and effort, and it went over thousands of years to defeat him. When Sauron came, it took hundreds of years to defeat him.
Yeah.
So it's like each one that comes later is a watered down story. It's a diminished story. So as amazing as Lord of the Rings is, it's a perfect size. It doesn't need to be any bigger. It doesn't
self-contained.
Yeah. So it's about telling new stories about what new stories based on the old way of storytelling.
Yeah.
But just it's not, like you say, just a lol factory. We're the good guys, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, just to sell more Funko Pops. Right?
Yeah, right. Yeah, Leith's great, by the way. Yeah, I've just on Duncan's point about travelling through Edinburgh. I spent a bit of time in Leith for work. It's a cracking part of the city. Yeah, cool. So I think we'll try next time for we'll go back to mine. We'll go back to the Green Dragon.
Yeah, and we'll just see if that kind of fixes the issue.
Yeah.
And if that does fix the issue, I guess I'll have a look at swapping internet provider.
We'll sort it for next time. So yeah, it was a bit of an impromptu one tonight, but please you could join.
So thank you for joining in, and we apologise if it's not the best quality. Hopefully it improved, but it sounds like you managed to at least follow a little bit. So, well, thanks for joining. That really made it for us.
We still enjoyed it.
Yeah, we did.
Sticks and stones always.